Hey, hello everybody. This fine summer heat weather day where it is so hot, I am not wearing a suit. And I think from now on with these AEW Dark simple takes and outlooks and reviews, I think I'll just bring you my AEW gear going forward too. But just for Dark. We'll see if Elevation's the same thing. Anyway, good evening, good morning, good night. Hello to you all. Welcome once again to another Simple Take. My name is Noah Foster, and I am a simple man here to give you my outlook, overall review, and the results for this week's episode of AEW Dark tonight. And this, of course, marks AEW Dark episode number 86. And I must say, this platform continues to be just a fine, fun, opportunistic showcase of professional wrestling for the up-and-coming and the veterans galore. As we had some nice debuts tonight, we had, of course, some fun matches, some quick ones, and some great all-around action too. Some built on mutual respect, others built on hunger, and of course, one built on an ever-continuing feud, and so much more. With that being said, let's go ahead and briefly talk about what we saw tonight. So action kicked off tonight as the duo of D3 and Fuego del Sol. They took on the Acclaim, who of course brought their own game as they continue to try and bring themselves to their own way of fame. And basically, Excalibur, he was kind of giving a polite, underhanded consensus on how he feels about Max Caster, where at the end of the day, basically, he claims he's an obnoxious asshole, and I completely agree. This match was pretty brief and short, as basically what they did is they isolated D3 after he did do a nice roundhouse, though, to Max Caster. But of course, Bowens, he got the tag in. Fuego del Sol came into play, and Fuego del Sol fell to Bowens, who basically sidewind slammed into the mat, tagging Caster in towards the end, where Caster, of course, basically they set up Fuego del Sol for the acclaimed to fame, which is the combination power slam top elbow drop. And Max Caster wins, getting the pin for the team, and then kisses his opponent's hand afterwards. I still don't understand that. Again, the Acclaim continue to roll as Bowens now is fully back and fully recovered. Kudos to him. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, he might not be the strongest mic game. In fact, I feel like sometimes he's a little repetitive in his wordplay. But as a duo, these two, they really have come together as a very strong tag team and nobody to take lightly. And with both of them back together, sky's the limit for where they go from here. We know we're still waiting for Fuego del Sol to, of course, get his first win. I know so many people wait for that. But hey, we're just trying to test the waters, and D3 got some offense in. I'm not sure exactly where D3 fits right when it comes to a tag team partner. So only time will tell. But nice simple opener. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go into tag team action. And yes, I have the notes on my phone as this is being recorded literally just as the show went off the air, 8:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday night, April 27th. We then had the Sydal brothers, Matt and Mike Sydal. They took on, ahead of their match with the Young Bucks tomorrow, the team of Aaron Fry and David Ali, ref by Aubrey, who I encouraged her after the match to go get some yoga then. It was a pretty good match, and I must say, the double bow and arrow was a crazy spot. Talk about really working on the entire vertebrae of your opponent. In the early going, though, most of this match was basically David Ali involved and getting brutalized by the Sydals until Aaron Fry, he could not stand it no more. He got involved here, broke up a pinfall, and then he kind of put things into his team's favor. There was a nice pop-up powerbomb by Fry in the midpoint of this match for a nice near fall, but then a double Meteora that nearly ended the match there, but kudos to, who was it here? It was David Ali, who did come in for the save on that. But you wonder if he really saved him from something that was less brutal. Because in the end, the combo lightning spiral did get the Sydal brothers the win as they turned Aaron Fry inside out. And David Ali could not stop the pinfall here as he was already taken out on the outside. Good match of the Sydal brothers working on all cylinders, looking very strong ahead of their match tomorrow. And overall, these two brothers, they kick, they flex, they do yoga, they're on the same page. But hey, I will give Aaron Fry credit. He endured, especially in the end. So I'm glad we got to see a little bit of what he could bring. And David Ali, you tried, but you just were not there in the end to save your partner. Namaste, though, to you all. Good match. Moving on from there, we go into a nice short little match with Dante Martin, one half of Top Flight, continuing his way solo as his partner, of course, is recovering from injury. And he took on the rather unorthodox, but sometimes here for fun, Andrew Palace. And there wasn't much to say here. Andrew Palace kind of throwing off Dante Martin with his presentation, but there was a nice backdrop move by Palace, and I will say that. And then as the referee, Frank Gastel, was basically looking on as Palace, who I don't believe is what you would call a high flyer. He might have been dropped more times in his head than George Janela with the way he was going about this match, in my opinion. He does go all for broke, and I could just see this person like, really? And then, of course, we had things speed up when, of course, his attempted top rope move missed, and Dante Martin capitalized on this with speed, agility, beautiful flying crossbody. But he finished off here with a beautiful, for distance as well, 450 splash. And Dante Martin continues to roll and move forward and impress. Once again, I might add, he is the youngest signed talent in AEW. This young guy, the sky is the limit, no pun intended, for him and Top Flight with that beautiful 450 and the fact that he pretty much got the distance on the 452 after the rotation, as he went for the rotation first and then went forward for the splash, I thought was very impressive. And he picks up a nice, quick, simple win here as he really has a strong singles run so far. Good stuff. I'm not sure what to really figure about Andrew Palace. Honestly, I could see him and Dalton Castle maybe one day showing up as a tag team, but Dalton Castle, of course, re-signed with Ring of Honor, so until we get more of an idea of Ring of Honor presence on the AEWDARK platform, that's just something I'm just going to have to think about maybe one day happening. Good stuff, though. After this, we go into another tag team bout as the Varsity Blondes, who recently broke the top 5 rankings. Kudos to them. Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison, who I still don't know who the hell that is. Basically, they took on the team of Duke Davis and Gannon Jones Jr. And I must say, there was a nasty shot in the early going that really rattled Brian Pillman Jr. And I must say, for the first time this duo being together, they were very effective here. They really isolated Brian Pillman Jr. in the early going, but then they went all for broke, one of them did. Why they look like they were part of a basketball team also. With a moonsault that basically hit nothing but canvas, allowed for Brian Pillman Jr. to come in and get the hot tag into Garrison. And basically, Garrison, he comes in like a bat out of hell, ridiculous spear to Duke Davis. And then they set up for, I'm not sure if they fully executed it properly, but as we got towards the end of the match, it was Brian Pillman Jr. who got tagged in by Griff Garrison holding up, what was it, Duke Davis in the electric chair position. And it looked like they were maybe going for a combination neckbreaker powerbomb. I don't think the neckbreaker found the mark unless Brian Pillman was just trying to push down Davis for momentum. But regardless, this tag team offense aside, it wasn't enough, of course, for the Varsity Blondes to pick up the win here as Brian Pillman Jr. Did pin Duke Davis. But I must say, Duke Davis and Gannon Jones, they have potential as a tag team because in the early going, they really did follow fundamentals of tag team wrestling. They isolated their opponent. They went for quick tags. I just think they got a little full of themselves, and then they went off broke way too soon. And again, every match for any wrestler, good, new, novice, beginner, veteran, it's always a lesson either in winning or defeat. And honestly, I feel like you need to take away more in defeat because winning, I feel, can make you content, especially in the early going. But hey, kudos to all 4 men here, and the Varsity Blondes keep rolling forward. Maybe we'll see them get up higher in the top 5. I don't think they'll be just stuck in number 5 for long. Good match by them. Moving on from there, Lucha Underground lives. As you might remember this guy. Remember Marty the Moth Martinez? Well, it was Marty Casos who basically took on the Machine, Brian Cage, giving Brian Cage a bit of run for his money. But I will give Marty credit. He endured, and while Brian Cage basically turned him inside out with a clothesline, Marty did try to go over the top rope, barely, literally passing it, and does take out the Machine with a nice follow-up power slam as well. Does trap him in the ropes, but then he tries to go for, that weird Marty type stuff where I guess he was going for like a mandible club of licking his hand. And I guess he engaged and enraged the Machine, Brian Cage, as we basically had a Machine go all out, kick, kick, and then literally decks him and hits the drill claw in the end. But I did like the nice full Nelson slam that did give Marty the closest moment in this match to win. Even Taz was a little bit, I would think, concerned, but also impressed. As again, Team Taz represent FTW. But in the end, Brian Cage, he does get the win. Of course, Brian Cage, I Hook in his corner. Kudos to Hook not getting involved in this match at all. And it was a good fight with two very, I would say, similarly physical men. I hope to see more of Marty involved in Dark. And again, I hope to see more of the great talent from Lucha Underground maybe show up in AEW. I mean, we got Real Wet Days, for example, on MLW. Never say never. And I'm glad that he got his hair back and he's still wrestling. He's still weird. And of course, Brian Cage, he rolls in ahead of his match tomorrow against Heyman Adam Page. Good stuff all around. And I must say, Marty, he brought the fight. This was actually probably one of the more, if not up to this point, most competitive matches of AEW Dark tonight up to this point. As we wait for our next match, we go backstage and find the Hardy family office talking strategy. Of course, hyping up tonight's main event, which was Private Party and First Time Trio set up with The Blade as they were taking on Preston, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno. And basically, Matt Hardy claimed that he should be TNT champion. He hates the Dark Order. And tonight they're going to make them pay. As Ali, he kind of blames the Dark Order for the fact Butcher was not involved here, as Butcher's hand was hurt. But Blade Slay says, well, yeah, it's his Cleaver hand. And shout out to the Cleaver Con Andrew. Go check out his YouTube channel. Anyway, yeah, Ali. Basically, they were just hyping up that they know what they're going to do tonight. They're going to unleash pain and full death. And Matt Hardy is going to try and basically reclaim a debt via the Dark Order. Not much more to say about that. Moving on from there, we go into another singles bout as legit Layla Hirsch. She took on returning Renee Michelle, who seemed very hesitant they are going to even get into the ring with one that has been very much on a roll and could break her on a matter of seconds. And literally when these two finally made contact, she almost did. But kudos to Renee, ring awareness, getting to the ropes immediately, and then taking advantage of Layla in the early going, following that, using the ropes and trying to keep her grounded. But you never count out legit Layla Hirsch, as of course. And by the way, kudos to Taz giving us the exact name for this, Juji Katami. I do not know how to spell that. I'm not sure Alexa does neither. But I like how Layla kind of kept her opponent guessing, as in the end, when Layla got her momentum back with a ridiculous running knee strike, it looked like she was maybe going to go for jackknife cover pinning combination, but she didn't, as she transitioned that into the cross arm breaker, and Renee immediately no choice but to tap out. By the way, Tessa Price looking good in Layla's jacket. A good match, of course, as Layla continues her roll of momentum ahead of her big next singles match to come up next week on Dark against Diamante, who we will talk about later. I like that Renee Michelle continues to compete on here. She has great potential, but I felt like here she was a little bit outplayed. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing her back in Impact Wrestling. Maybe she's playing for our partner, Killer Kelly. But pretty good stuff here all around, and there was no doubt in my mind Layla was going to claim another arm tonight. Speaking of claiming something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody! Well, the Murder Hog Lance Archer came out to claim another body and kill somebody and have his fun. But I will give his brash opponent some credit, St. Patrick. He literally tried to attack the Murder Hog in the other going while Jake Roberts was on commentary, even though it was all for naught, because literally Lance ended up choke slamming the guy to hell on the rampway. As the two got back in the ring, Lance was basically playing with his prey, and whether or not Jake is true in the fact that Lance is not necessarily happy here, but Lance, of course, he has this going. He can make this go all night long if he wants. And honestly, I thought Lance was going, so I was like, let the kid down already, man. But anyway, we had a follow-up in the corner, and Jason St. Patrick tries to do something to Lance out of midair, though, with a moonsault, gets kicked in his gut, and then literally rag slammed around with 3 ridiculous body slams. I was telling Lance to just body slam the man all night, but hey, we listened to Jake as he talks about maybe this cohesion of support, but uncertainty with him and Lance and Sting, as Jake still to this day trusts nobody. I mean, heck, he's a snake. Don't even trust a snake. But anyway, Lance did not win the blackout this time or the EBD claw. He didn't even use the claw this time. He won with his helicoaster, planting St. Patrick and finally ending this poor man's night. Brutally. I always enjoy watching Lance Archer obliterate people in the ring. Such a dynamic, powerful athlete, and in my opinion, still to this day, a future TNT champion. I really wonder when him and Darby will meet, because when I think about people that could take the title off Darby Allin, Lance right now, he is my key pick. Good stuff, though, but you also got to consider what was also mentioned on commentary. Where does the Sting thing fall in line, and how much more can this come into play here? Is there mutual respect between Lance and Sting? Does Lance still want a piece of Sting? Does Jake want a piece of Sting? Does Jake trust Sting? Where does Lance's alliance lie? Is Lance finally branching out on his own? Because we've seen the promo game he has. I mean, the two are still a duo, but you got to wonder at this point, what does the future hold for the Murder Hawk Lance Archer besides more fun for him, not so much for his opponents? Good stuff. I always enjoy Lance's matches. Moving on from there, we go forward into women's action as Diamante. She takes on the debuting Rochelle Rose. Now, I've heard a little bit of hype about Rochelle Rose. I know she'll also be involved in a Mission Pro Wrestling show, I believe, this weekend. I must admit, she impressed me here. She had some nice in-ring showcasing, some great flexibility escapes too, and it looked like she was controlling Diamante there going, but might have got a little full of herself, and Diamante made her pay for it. As Diamante, of course, 10 years plus of experience, she followed up with her with a ridiculous combination. Russian leg sweep, running drop kicks, double axe handle, double stomp follow-up, yeesh. And yet this did not end the match. Diamante was here to win. Diamante was not here to mess around. She doesn't get paid by the hour, folks. And she also, I believe, was out to send a message to legit Layla Hirsch, who I imagine was maybe watching from the back. I don't know. But in the end, Code Red finally gets hit by Diamante, and she does win. And this was a pretty good clash, and I hope to see more of Rochelle Rose. Rochelle Rose got that type of pretty woman type showcasing, but she also seems to have that gymnastics background too. I wouldn't mind seeing a match between her and Penelope Ford, which we will talk about later. But good stuff as Diamante continues to roll on solo. You do wonder, though, she will get like maybe another partner regarding what happened recently. But I digress. Moving on from there, Will All Day takes on Big Shotty Lee. And Big Shotty Lee, of course, Lee Johnson, representing, now probably a member of the Nightmare family, and of course is All Elite. Truly is, to my opinion, the biggest, especially the initial standout of the entire AEW Dark era during this pandemic. I could not be more happier for this young man. Pretty simple match here. Will All Day, he does put out a nice moonsault out of the corner for a near fall. And of course, this was to hype up Lee, who will be involved tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite. But overall, Big Shy Lee, he does get the win here with a Bucko Bomb and Ushi-Goroshi. And Ushi-Goroshi for a finisher. Imagine that. Nice, simple match, but it was more so a story of what happened afterwards as QT Marshall come in for the post-match attack, basically tirading Big Shy Lee for, in his words, disrespecting him, and then hitting him with a cutter before getting out of the ring, and Dustin comes in. Well, you were 1 second too late, Dustin Rhodes. And then, of course, QT with his factory, they look on. Dustin and Lee, I'm sure they can't wait for tomorrow. Neither can Billy Gunn. As again, we have a 6-man war in our hands tomorrow night. But this was a pretty good match. And again, Lee Johnson continues to show the work, do the work, and I feel it will only grow from here. I do wonder, though, if he will develop a new finisher, because, again, on these platforms like Dark and Elevation, you really can explore and redefine yourself and add more to yourself as a wrestler. But good stuff. Moving on from there, we go into women's action as the super bad girl, who hasn't been involved in a little while, but is such a dynamic athlete. Penelope Ford, with Kip Sabian in her corner. She basically took on the debuting Ashley D'Ambrose. I like her presentation, and she actually has a little bit of agility to her. Beautiful leapfrog in the early going, dodging the clothesline. But, of course, Penelope Ford mostly controlled this whole match. As her gymnastics background came to play here, she did, of course, do the roundhouse kick, and then, of course, the constant, what do you call that? Somersaults into the corner, follow-up clothesline. She does do, of course, the handstand springboard cutter, and then the beautiful, what's being now called, what the hell has been called this? Fisherwoman suplex, picture perfect, belly button straight up in the air, straight on her toes, beautiful position, middle of the ring, Nobody kicks out of that. She gets the quick, easy win. I do like the fact that Ashley tried to go for some offense in the early going. Not sure she was going for maybe like a Russian leg sweep or like side takedown, a backbreaker, but Penelope Ford denied that. I feel there's more yet to be really seen from Ashley the Bro, but she did show me something, and that is that she's got hops, which definitely could come into play here. So show me she's got some flexibility, she's got some agility. Now I want to see if she has power. Overall, though, this was a pretty good match, but again, it was Penelope Ford sending a message to Chris Statlander, who was, of course, victorious in her match, also on Elevation, as these two will finally clash tomorrow. I can't wait for that match. Meanwhile, we go to the Dark Order as Colt Cabana takes on Cole Carter. And this was probably the shortest match of the night because Cole Carter got one move of offense in, got thrown into two corners, eating, of course, the flying apple, and then gets thrown chest first into the other corner, falls in place, and Colt Cabana falls up immediately with a Superman, folding him really good, and of course, getting the super easy win. Not much more to say about this match. I don't really know what else to say, unfortunately. Cole Carter, you just had a bad night, bro. And I guess Taz reluctantly hates that theme that Colt Cabana used to come out to, as Colt Cabana really has come to channel his presence in the Dark Order. Literally coming out to the Fiend, putting up the hand gesture. He really has come into his own being part of the Dark Order. Representing, of course, late great Broly Lee with his gear. But I do wonder if Taz actually does miss that boom boom theme since he mocked it, but he kind of was on point with the way he delivered it. Just saying. Moving on from there, we go into what personally for me was my match of the night as Kilynn King, representing Ohio, takes on the real mean girl, Dani Jordyn. These two, of course, mutual friends, nothing but respect for each other. I've been a fan of Dani Jordyn since her Squared Circle showing in the NWA, and Kilynn King, one of my all-time favorite standouts as well from AEWDARK, constant delivering it. Also works in Gangrel Academy showcasing. I believe she's a champion there too. And these two had a nice, respectable bout where really it tested Kilynn King's power against Dani Jordyn's innovativeness, using the environment to her advantage. These two were tit for tat most of this match. And it really showed here, especially when Kilynn King was kind of frazzled, thrown out of the ring. But Dani Jordyn, she thought she had it well in hand, going for a running crossbody off the apron, only for Kilynn King to catch her into the fallaway slam. These two get back into the ring, though, but it's Dani Jordyn who capitalizes, trapping Kilynn King in the ropes with a nice pendulum DDT for a pretty good near fall. But following that, Dani Jordyn, it looked like she was hesitant at first. These two continue to fight back and forth for control, gets in the corner, does make it to the top with a beautiful flipping net breaker for a nice near fall. Got some airtime on that suplex. In the end, though, Dani Jordyn tries to go for a roundhouse kick, gets denied as Kilynn King for the second time in this match. After the first time, it was countered. By the way, these two nice side takedowns to submission, but in the end, Kilynn King, King of Crazy, she rolls, and the kingdom falls, and Dani Jordyn falls to Kilynn King as Kilynn King rolls on. But a very strong effort by Dani Jordyn, who I noticed did not come out with her burn book tonight. More so came out as a queen with a crown, gave part of the crown to Kilynn King. I guess a symbol of royalty, some solid humor there. But, I mean, if she's going to write some of her burn book after all matches, I think this match, she has nothing to write off about. This was obviously, in my opinion, one of Dani Jordyn's stronger performances. And these two, they really worked well together in the ring. And I hope to see more of this. This was a really good match. And Kilynn King, to this day, it's like Cody said on Twitter. She is somebody that I feel like people do not talk enough about with how much drive and how much work she puts in. I truly do hope she does become all elite. But honestly, I just hope she continues rolling on in her wrestling career because she is a big-time star in the making, a big-time player in my opinion. And I really enjoyed this match. It was probably one of my top 3 favorite matches of the night. Great stuff by both. Women's wrestling, respect. Moving on from there, we go into SCU's All or Nothing Vendetta. As Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, they took on the team of Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis. I will give Gray and Alanis some credit because for the early going, they did isolate Kazarian, but once Kazarian got rolling, it was pretty much downhill from there. It's like Taz, so they alluded to on commentary. With this idea that SCU is the #1 ranked team in AEW, you know they want the tag team to go back, and they made this promise that the next time they lose, SCU is done forever. They break up. Though Christopher Daniels and Kazarian could definitely make it both as single stars, in my opinion. There was some good tag team cohesion here from Alanis and Gray, pulling off some nice pins. Not really near falls, though. But once Kazarian got rolling and decked freaking Liam Gray, Christopher Daniels got the hot tag in. He basically set up his adversary in the corner for the BME as the two hit the best moonsault ever. And SCU continues to rose. Kazarian gets the pinfall for the win. And again, literally, their winning streak, their rankings literally depend on them constantly delivering like this. Because it's all or nothing, period. I'm still waiting for AEW to actually name a pay-per-view like that. I think that would be a cool idea. But Liam Gray and Alanis, I think out of all the tag team combinations we saw tonight, had the best showing for a first time and definitely have a great potential. So I hope to see more of them as a duo. Good stuff. Which leads us into our main event, a trios match, as for the first time ever, the Blade teams up with Private Party. As the Hardy family, obviously at ringside with them too. Matt Hardy, of course, Big Money, Matt Hardy, of course, the Bunny, yay, Allie. They took on the Dark Order trio of Preston, number 10, Stu Grayson, and Evil Uno, the originators, of course, of the Dark Order. And this was a pretty good six-man tag, and literally the initial face-off between Braxton Sutter, who is such a unique wrestler, and I feel truly has not understood how good he is until you see him in singles action. He impressed it, kicked it off strong, early going, but of course the Hardy family, they took advantage. Oh, and by the way, Colt Cabana, Alex Reynolds, and number 5, Alan Angels were in the Dark Order's corner as well. So both people had people in their corner. Allie, of course, screaming and laughing from ringside. She does get involved at one point when literally things were kind of all in favor of the Hardy family office. Kind of, I feel like it was unnecessary, but Colt Cabana, to his credit, he got the ref to turn around and see what was happening. And unfortunately, Allie got busted. Allie and Matt Hardy in the midpoint of this match, they did get ejected from ringside as it looked like Evil Uno was going to be the fall guy here because Evil Uno had that target on his arm. And for the early going, they isolated Evil Uno in the corner. Private Party and the Blade did. Private Party with some nice poetry in motion, double follow-up into a nice near fall. It wasn't enough. And then things really broke down once Allie and Matt were gone. And literally, you didn't know who was going to win this match by this point. It wasn't until Evil Uno finally got a tag using Bryce for an assist to literally give a neck breaker to one member of Private Party to hot tag in. Stu Grayson came out like a bat out of hell and literally destroyed everybody, as we heard. I keep forgetting who's the one with the high-pitched scream. I think it's Isaiah Cassidy. I could be wrong here, though. But anyway, there was a nice trio combo with a kick into, or a DDT after the silly string with a net breaker and a splash for a very close near fall on, I believe it was Stu Grayson by the Hardy family office, but it was not enough, as of course Dark Order was there to break it up. As Preston was the guy that got the tag in the end, it come down to Blade, who thought he had Stu Grayson. After everybody was getting decked with kicks and clotheslines, unknown to Blade, behind him came up Preston, who locked in the full Nelson, and it was Preston who put the Blade to sleep long enough to pick up the win for his team. And the Dark Order rolls on. And of course, this builds momentum ahead tomorrow for Preston, especially. As this continuing feud between the Hardy family office and the Dark Order continues, you gotta wonder, how will this end in the ultimate climax? I gotta imagine at Double or Nothing. What sort of stipulations will be involved here? What amount of money might be involved here? And honestly, what players will be involved here too? Will John Silver also be healed up in time? Because of course, John Silver is still injured. But this was a pretty good match. And again, I thought all 6 men looked very strong here. Private Party have really channeled a lot of Matt Hardy and his guidance and tutorage and involvement here too. And of course, Butcher and Blade, I'm just waiting for them to keep making their way up the rankings. Hope Butcher gets better soon. And again, Blade, I feel like Blade deserves a singles match after this. I feel like Blade and Preston should be a match to come. But I hope nobody gets involved in tomorrow night's show as far as the TNT title match goes. With that being said, that was it for Dark. And again, great showcasing, some nice debuts. I thought that Renee was pretty impressive. And of course, my favorite match, if I take my favorite match of the show, I really enjoyed what Dani Jordyn and Kilynn King brought. With these two and the way that they gel, honestly, this could be a great story one day. These two could form a real rivalry, I feel like. It was a really good match. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a brief look into the card for tomorrow because it's the last AEW Dynamite before Blood and Guts. We got the Young Bucks taking on the Sydal Brothers, and you got a match the Sydal Brothers win. They will get an AEW Tag Team Championship match. We have the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle will come face-to-face for a parlay as the official rules for Blood and Guts will be unfolded. We also will have Chris Statlander over a year in the making. She already chastised Penelope Ford's husband, and now she's going to try and physically destroy Ford for revenge for what happened, as she is brighter, stronger, better. And I truly think that. Chris Statlander and Penelope Ford will face off in singles action, where Penelope Ford will, of course, have Kip Sabian in her corner, and Chris Statlander will, of course, have Orange Cassidy in her corner. I expect a very competitive and I hope a good time bout between these two. We will, of course, also have Hangman Adam Page, the #1 ranked wrestler in AEW. He will be taking on the Machine Brian Cage. Considering the events that have unfolded after the Ricky Starks match, Taz seems to believe that they know exploit a weakness on the Hangman. I'm curious what they are talking about. And I also wonder if Christian Cage, a lot of AGEs here, will get involved in here too, if need be. Maybe a corner person. But right now, the person with the most momentum in AEW is definitely Hangman Adam Page. Can the Machine be stopped, or will he halt that? We'll have to wait and see. We will also have the continuation of Death Triangle versus the Best Friends feud going on, as Penta Cielo Miedo with Alex Cabrejantes in his corner. He'll be taking on Orange Cassidy with Trent in his corner. And you gotta wonder right now, with it being Ray Phoenix beating Chuck and Trent being Penta, can they go 3 for 3 when they beat Orange Cassidy, or will Orange Cassidy do whatever and get this momentum back on track for the Best Friends, who, might I add, are the highest win record in AEW as a tag team. Keyword win. I don't know win and loss necessarily is the case, but they definitely have been the most proactive. So I'm very curious how this match plays out, and if Alex will get decked or get physically involved again besides a microphone. I wonder if there's more to this man than just his voice in translation. He really seems to be enjoying his role too. Just saying. And of course, we will also have 6-man tag as the Battle of the Nightmare Family versus the Nightmare Factory continues. As of course, we will have Dustin, Big Shiley, and I believe Billy Gunn or Austin Gunn. One of the guns. Too many guns. They will be taking on QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solo. And you know if the Go-Go will be in their corner too, with a right fist waiting to punch somebody in the ribs. I gotta wonder if this match is going to lead to maybe Cody coming out and confronting QT. Like, what's the ultimate one-on-one here? Is it Cody and QT, or is the one that's yet to happen between QT and Dustin, because these two were originally the Natural Nightmares? Or is Nick Camarado want a piece of the Natural? How does this all play out? Well, we're going to find out the next saga of this tomorrow night in that 6-man tag. And again, I'm not here to predict. I'm just here to tell you and give my simple thoughts into it. And of course, last but not least, closing out the night up to this point, because who knows what else can happen tomorrow night. I'm sure Britt Baker will have something to say to Sheeta. We will, of course, have the Dark Order. Number 10, Preston Vance taking on Darby Allin for the TNT title, as Darby Allin asked Dark Order to pick their next best man, and Darby Allin is trying to be as great as a champion to the late, great Brody Lee as he was. Forever and will be the greatest TNT champion. God rest his soul. Can Preston get his first ever title when he truly was picked by Brody Lee for this and really became into his own through the Dark Order ever since starting the match? Or will Darby Allin's role continue as the TNT champion, top tier performer, main eventer week by week, TNT's champion tomorrow night? And if that's the case, who's next? Stu Grayson? I'm just saying, I'm waiting for that match. But only time will tell. Bottom line is this: there is a lot going on across AEW. So if you're not a fan yet or haven't checked it out, I encourage you, give it a try. And may you too can support and enjoy AEW like I do, and the rest of the AEW fleet too. But that's all I gotta say for now. So what are your thoughts regarding AEW? What are your favorite matches from Dark tonight? For performers on Dark? What's your favorite outlooks? What's your insights? Just give me some thoughts or anything you want AEW. And if you want to do it besides the comment section, which I know has probably been spammed lately on everybody's channel, stupid hackers, then find me on Twitter, because folks, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. So find me on Twitter at nfoster1916, Instagram at nfoster1916, or keep following the Civil YouTube channel here for youtube.com/c/nofoster210 for all things wrestling. And shout out to my AEW family on Twitter. We will be back soon, the AEW crew and I, with another AEW view. I'm trying to kick back the sauce. We're going to mix it up again too. And of course, there'll be more wrestling content live and on demand to come on this platform too. As always, I'd like to close, folks. Oh, and support NoTQ. And support Pro Wrestling Post has the heart of it. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no bettors. There are just fans with their own opinions, their own outlooks on this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, let's just try, support one another, respect each other, and just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in once again to another Simple Take. Please like, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell notification goes on this channel. Hit subscribe button, help me keep growing this channel. And shout out to all of you this movie, this fun YouTuber craze journey. It's not that anytime soon. In fact, it's only going to kick start even stronger in the coming months too. And also, if you want more insight into AEW or even like, post-match thoughts, then I encourage you to follow Turnbuckle's channel and my friend CDG there, who always gives her simple insights to AEW too. And check out the Bulletcast into the Stratosphere as well. That's all I got for now, so take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure families and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever, and never been a crazier, better, more opportunistic time, an optimistic time to be a wrestling fan. So that's all I gotta say for now. So in the immortal words of Kenny Omega, I have stuff to do, so this is where I must bid you all a fine adieu. Goodbye, and good night. Bang.